This movie is 2.5 hours long. Why? The Lone Ranger. So The Lone Ranger stars Armie Hammer and Johnny Depp, and it's about the Lone Ranger. Yeah, he's this dude from the Old West who's something tragic happened to him, and now he's a vigilante fighting crime and justice. But without the hockey pads. This movie sucked, I'm sorry. It was bad. Okay, let's start off with the lead for a second. Armie Hammer. At no point in this movie did I buy Armie Hammer as the Lone Ranger. I mean, I'm not that well versed in Lone Ranger lore or anything like that, but as I understand it, the Lone Ranger is supposed to be like Batman from the Old West. And throughout the movie, yeah, he wants justice, but he's like the goody two-shoes type of justice. He's not a vigilante. People will be shooting at him, and he'll come out with a badge, just be like, "In the name of law, please stop and hold up your guns." No, they're gonna keep shooting at you. I was looking at this guy, and I'm like, you're not Batman. You're the Clooney Batman. That's what you are. I didn't buy him as a vigilante for justice or anything like that. He was just a dude that was wearing a mask and had a gun that was called the Lone Ranger. And then we have Jack Sparrow in this movie as Tonto the Indian, and he is Jack Sparrow the Indian. Like, every time he was on screen, I just wanted to grab him and smack him across the face. He wasn't Tonto. He was Jack Sparrow. I know Gore Verbinski really trusts Johnny Depp with all of his acting, but he's doing the same thing in everything nowadays. It's just annoying. Like, look at all of his movies from the last 10 years. What? The first Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, that was cool. Then we got, what, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Pirates 2 and 3 and 4, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows. It's all Jack Sparrow, dude. And then the Lone Ranger and Tonto never really gelled together in the movie either. I mean, throughout the whole movie, they're just bickering back and forth. I never felt like they were this inseparable team. And this movie is kind of like an origin story, so you could say, yeah, but they become a team near the end. But then again, I never felt like they reached an understanding. I felt it was just kind of like, okay, the movie's ending, so we're going to be friends now. There was a scene where they were both kidnapped, the Lone Ranger gets out, and he was going to leave Tonto to die. Except he came back for Tonto. Why? Because Tonto knew where they had to go. That was the only reason he came back for Tonto. Also, the script for this movie has so many holes in it. So the story of the Lone Ranger is being told to this kid at a fair by old Tonto in 1933. Kind of like, you know, how the Lorax and the Princess Bride are being told, where it's a story within a story. But there's a point when Tonto's in jail, but he gets out and he finds the Lone Ranger beaten up and abandoned. And then the kid just asks Johnny Depp, wait, but how'd you get out of the prison? What does he do? He doesn't answer. He just feeds the dead bird that's on his hat. Near the end of this movie, the Lone Ranger uses a whip. Where does the whip come from? How does he know how to use the whip? They don't say! From the bumbling idiot I've seen from the last 2.5 hours, he should have just cracked his lip open like Indiana Jones at the beginning of The Last Crusade. But no, now all of a sudden he's an expert with using a whip, and he's never had a whip throughout the entire movie. It doesn't make any sense, I don't get it. And now let's talk about the runtime of this movie. 2.5 hours. That's as long as The Dark Knight. This movie does not need to be that long. Like I was saying, it's a story within a story, but that doesn't help at all, so shave all of that out and bam, it's another 10 minutes shorter. Easy, done. There's probably some other side plot you could have cut out of there too. Okay, now that my rant is done, on to the good in the movie. James Badgedale, he plays his brother. He was good in the movie. He had a small role, but for what he had, he was good. William Fichtner was really cool in this movie. He reminded me of one of the bad guys from Rango. And he had a lot of fun with this movie. He's good at playing villains. Most villains anyways. We'll see about that next year. Oh, freaking Michael Bay. And the best part of this movie, I will say, the score by Hans Zimmer was really good. Really, that was what made the end of the movie for me. Like, all this action just flying around and then the Lone Ranger theme starts playing. And the way he arranged that piece was really cool. It sounded really awesome, actually. Like, they're all riding around on horses while the theme's kicking on and it's all like... So that was awesome. That was a point where I could just be like, okay, I'm having fun with this. Is it worth sitting through the other 2 hours and 20 minutes just to get to that scene? No. I'm going to give The Lone Ranger a D. It was very disappointing. There is definitely a reason it only made about $9.5 million on its opening day. And I hope it bombs because maybe then Gore Verbinski will pull back and he'll start making smaller projects. And they can actually be good and it won't just be him trying to recapture the glory of the first Pirates of the Caribbean. So favorite Western movie of all time, comment down below, let me know. And thanks for watching this video. If you guys like it, then click here to see more.